Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is going to be part of the World Cyber Games 2009, the group stages. This match between Nyoken and Idra. We have Nyoken starting in white at the 2 o'clock position, and we have Idra starting at the 8 o'clock position as the orange Terran. Again, Python. It's just been played and played and played. These guys are totally familiar with this map. Just in case you are not familiar with it, I'll give you kind of the preview. You've got the ramp leading out towards your secondary, a fairly wide choke, somewhat defendable by siege tanks, and beyond that usually your third expansion is either in the upper left hand corner or at an additional spawn. There's also island expansions that you have to mine out first in the upper right hand corner and the bottom left hand corner, also mineral onlys kind of at these northeast and southwest coordinates. So and yeah, it's again consummate map, been played forever, the Neo Lost Temple, so both these guys extremely familiar with it, and we'll see what comes out. I think that's gonna favor Idra a little bit, because really if Nyoken's going to pull a game against Idra, Cheese is probably his best bet. Between the two, Idra has much better macro. He's the only professional in the tournament. He's been with CJ Entus over in Korea, just been practicing like mad. His mechanics are across the chart, and it's not quite like this example, but it's almost like back in the days where you had some people just switching over to mouse and other people still on keyboard look, and it's like playing a guy with keyboard look. When you know how to move across the keyboard, it's just an absolutely huge advantage. So Nyoken's going to want to end the game early, particularly because he likes a really good harass style, but his macro cannot keep up with Idra over the long game. Nyoken, though, one of the people that everybody chose to take down Idra early, and it's unfortunate he's playing him right off the bat. I think Nyoken would have been a little bit more comfortable just playing him as maybe a second or third match when his nerves had calmed down, when he had seen Idra's playstyle a little bit, he'd gotten kind of a good look, maybe even day 2. But playing him right off the bat, he's going to have to just jump in and get it done, which is going to be very difficult. Looks like Idra might be going for a 14 command center, because yeah, and it looks like he is in fact going for a 14 command center, bringing his SCV off the line. He wants to win it in a long macro game, and he's going to take a really fast economic edge, playing to his strength on the opposite end. Nyoken going for more of a standard build, opening up with his barracks, also taking his gas. Let's see if he goes for one fact expansion. Also depends a lot on scouting here. Fortunately, it's caddy corner. Most players tend to scout north-south first rather than cross-map, unless they're looking for cheese, and I don't think Nyoken is expecting cheese against Idra, who tends to be a very safe player. So he's going to end up scouting second, which he's going to be even later spotting this off. So there's that first barracks. Now the question is how does Nyoken decide to respond? Is he just going to go for an immediate 2-factory push? Wow, not even producing a marine, going straight into the factory here. Is he going to go for a straight 2-factory push? Is he going to switch it up to Wraith to try to catch Idra off guard? How is he going to try to even things up economically? Or is he just going to go for the single factory machine shop into expansion, or just take his expansion before putting down his machine shop? And honestly, I think if he goes with that option, it would be an absolute mistake. That would just put Idra right in the control seat, right where he wants to play it. And it looks like Nyoken definitely is thinking about going for more of an expansion game. He's pulled all of his SCVs off gas while playing in the dark, so it looks like he's going to have to go into an expansion. So everything working out for Idra right here. Finally getting the scout in. Let's see if he puts 3 SCVs back on gas to try to make it up and go for a little bit more of a late delay. No, it looks like he is just going to keep the SCVs off gas. He is just going to go for a later expansion, which is really, again, it's going to play more to Idra's favor, especially as it gets towards the later stages of the mid-game. Losing an SCV right off the board, which is not Nyoken's style. You can tell he's playing very nervously, also playing a little bit rusty. Unfortunately, Idra's going to have the advantage in that regard as well. He's used to playing on land. He's played on land all his time in Korea. It looks like Nyoken now taking his expansion. Idra a little bit later on the scout. It's not really going to help out at all. Single marine kind of chilling at the front door, not going to be able to get anything accomplished either way, especially with that barracks in the way. But right now it's going to be up to Nyoken to play a little bit of a catch-up game, and you can just see between losing that SCV scout, which is something you almost never see him do, playing a little bit rusty, just kind of caught in off position. The question is, how will he bring this back up? And it looks like he's already got that machine shop planting down. He's got a vulture. Can he sneak it by? It looks like, taking a couple free hits, underestimating where he was in that front. He's just playing very rusty, playing very nervous. You can see all together. And I think this would be a completely different game if he was playing a little bit later in the day. Now Idra getting his 2 factories down. Looks like just planning a couple of his just general supply depot, and he's just going to go for a longer macro-based game and just take the lead that direction. And again, it's just going to play out for him. Usually, because Python, it's so difficult to defend your third, I expect Idra just to pump a bunch of factories, maybe go to air, because air play on this map can be very strong. Usually, it's more when you see players at the 3 o'clock and the 12 o'clock position, or at the 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock position opposing, that you'll see more of the air play. But even cross position air can be absolutely critical vehicle. Looks like the armory being planted now for Nyoken, so he's going to try to produce, maybe try to win the upgrade war at the very least, maybe go for a little bit more higher Goliath tech. I think he might be expecting a quick turnaround off the double expansion. He needs to be careful against a Wraith harass that could be coming to supply, but it looks like Idra instead just going to put down the 2 machine shops, probably get his tank and vulture upgrades and go for a little bit of a vulture harass out into the mid game. Nyoken now having this barrack starting to float over towards Idra's main. Idra still has this SCV scout that managed to sneak in the base. This tank finally able to come out and take it out. But still got an eyeful, got a pretty good look at what Nyoken was doing. Nyoken also getting the 2 machine shops down. Significantly later, he's working off a little bit of a weaker economy. And he's also, as you can see, just about a 7 supply difference right now, and that's just going to continue to increase. He's also, with this barrack kind of floating out in the field, he needs to be careful with this because he's already at an economic disadvantage. He doesn't want to have to be forced to rebuild his barracks and also plant down a couple factories. I think he's a little bit concerned, though, about a tech switch, so he's also got another vulture. It looks like he didn't lose that vulture earlier, did manage to pull it off the line, so he's just going to keep that nearby. Siege tech now being upgraded for Idra. It looks like he just wants to get a look at the secondary before he decides to move out. Tank able to run out, take out that SCV. It looks like it's pressing forward a little bit. 2 tanks on the front door, and this is Nyoken's style. Nyoken likes being aggressive, pushing up, harassing his opponent, and while then just trying to play the macro game otherwise. That's where he plays his strongest. That's how he plays his best. That also tends to be where he tends to fall behind, and in that regard, he does not stack up very well against Idra, because Idra is a very strong, very safe player, and right now going up against an inferior attack force, 3 tanks already pressing out on the line. The 2 tanks going to retreat. Looks like Nyoken seeing that with his barracks, seeing those tanks move out, very wisely deciding to back off. But already it feels like he's kind of in a bad situation, a little bit of a vice around his arms. He knows he's in the economic disadvantage. He knows he's going to be behind in a troop count. It looks like he's going to try to make it up just by pumping a lot of tanks. Let's see if he puts down a 3rd machine shop and goes for a 3 factory, 3 tank combination. 2 additional factories being planted by Idra, so it looks like Idra's going to supplement it with a few more vultures than anything. Kind of moving up, wants to get a good look, and 5 tanks pressing forward against just the 4 tanks on the front line. Looks like he's going to be able to pick off that lead scouting SCV, but and sieging up, actually, Idra needs to be very careful. Going to take a couple free hits and back off, losing tank. Nice little victory there for Nyoken in the middle of the map, and that'll definitely help him a bit early, and it looks like we do have some Goliaths on the field here from him. We're going to be able to take that factory down, and I don't see any rush. It looks like we are, in fact, seeing that 3rd factory planted to go very, very tank heavy in the mid game, and Nyoken's just going to, very riskily going to try to take the economic lead by taking this expansion in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm just going to rely on the fact that he can siege just using just an overwhelming amount of tanks to keep Idra back. Idra sieging up and staying a little bit exposed, a little bit piecemeal, but it looks like with those 2 carrying SCVs, it's not going to be enough. Nyoken able to push forward, but losing more than he really wanted to right there. In a nice contained position, though. Let's see what Idra's up to now. It looks like he did manage to sneak an SCV out. He might sneak an expansion himself, but he is contained to a degree, at least till he gets a larger attack force up. Idra already, though, with that dropship, that's really going to hurt Nyoken's game plan, because he's pumping more tanks than he is dropships. You can see he's trying to get that starport out to try to equalize a little bit. Idra already with that mobility advantage with that dropship, already 2 dropships out in the field. Let's see if he actually switched up. Okay, he's actually just pumping Goliaths, and otherwise he's only got the single. For a second there, I thought he actually might have gone 2 starports, just go on a massive amount of dropships in the mid game and end it right here. But it looks like he, in fact, is just going to go for that expansion, that single dropship grouping, and it's going to make it very, very difficult for Nyoken to maintain his game plan from this stage, where he was going for more of a siege contain to protect this bottom right-hand corner. With those 2 dropships out in the field, these tanks aren't going to be able to cover anything out in the field. Finally scouting this upper left-hand corner. Let's see, that's at least going to force Idra to defend back to the upper left-hand corner. It looks like still floating this barracks up here, and it looks like Nyoken just starting to produce those dropships. He hasn't quite gotten it out, trying to get his comsat out to kind of get an idea of what's going on. Has a good amount of tanks up on the front door, but again, between the dropships and just the 4 tanks, with the near reinforcements, it's going to be very difficult to accomplish anything. Still deciding to be aggressive and push in, and he is going to be able to clear this front door, but Idra should swing right back around and drop over this line to kind of press this back. So nice little indicator, nice little push there by Nyoken. He's bringing in a ton of tanks. I don't know that Idra's actually going to have enough to defend this. He's going to have to rely on a lot of micro to fight this off. Just an overwhelming amount of tanks. It looks like it's going to be 6 against 2, pushing in with the SCVs coming off the line. So it looks like Nyoken actually might be able to take an economic lead here. But, see, and that's where that dropship play is just absolutely devastating. He still did have the dropships in the corner. He's able to wipe out that entire tank force right there. Nyoken not able to bring in reinforcements in time. Also didn't have any Goliaths on the ground. Now his entire army is wiped out. He didn't enact a lot of SCV kills. He does have a slight economic lead because he's got decent SCV saturation here in the bottom right-hand corner, but he's going to fall further and further behind as this match progresses, because right now